Hello and welcome. That's Runa. I'm Tim, and Bob is way up there. And we are on SV Paquita, and we are in, where are we? We're in Martinique?
Yeah, Fort-de-France.
Fort-de-France in Martinique, and we have been doing projects. We were concerned we had a little bit of bad fuel when we were 3,000 miles ago when we were in Las Palmas. We didn't know it at the time, but we've never had a fuel issue. And then we have, the way our fuel system works is we have 250 gallons of fuel, and then it runs through a huge, what they call a Raycor 2020, which is the same filters they use on the filter housings they use on the tugboats. The tugboats use a 30 micron one. We have a 20 micron one. And then that feeds into a double, I think it's a 20, it's a 10, yo!
Check the range on this thing.
Okay, stand by a second. Yeah, I'll come back and tell you in a second. I got to do something for Bob. Okay, so Bob and I just did a test, and that worked out well, so let me go back to tell you what we're doing. 250 gallon tank here. The diesel goes out to what used to be a 30 micron, I think it's called a 2020 filter. It's a 1000 FH is the filter housing unit. And we've replaced the 30 micron with a 10 micron thing, but it's got a huge bowl on it, obviously for like tugboats. But the previous owner put that in, and I didn't really like that. But I never have had bad fuel. Now I have bad fuel. Then from there it comes back to a dual Raycor, and with 10 micron on either side. And when one gets loaded up, you flip the thing, and so it goes right to the other, and you don't have to bleed anything, and the engine keeps running. And we noticed that in the bottom of the bowl, when we were having trouble starting. It wouldn't always start right up, and the engine's always started just, like a quarter of a turn that starts up. So we replaced that filter, or we didn't replace that filter, we just moved the lever to go to the new filter, and we looked in and we saw some crap in the bowl. Anyway, since then I went in this morning and I changed the old filter out and cleaned all the crap out of the bowl, and it was really nasty. So we said, let's go change that 30 micron filter and replace it with the 10 micron filter that's never been changed back in the lazarette. Hang on a second. Go ahead.
Okay, it's possible I have to put the motor in front because
Okay, that's fine.
if the screws protrude, it might rip the sail.
No, that's totally fine. I understand. I thought of that before. So that's.
I put the two of them forward.
Yep.
Okay.
The forward is more important.
Both going to be at the front of the mast.
Right. That's fine. Just as long as they don't get caught by the jib.
Yeah, I think they'll be all right.
All right. So Bob and Runa went to go clean out that 30 micron filter and replace it with a 10 micron filter, and that whole big bowl, I mean, it holds like a liter and a half, and it was filled with the nastiest crud, nasty ever. Now, there's two things that could have happened. That could be the result of that building up over the last 6 years, or it could be, what's more likely than that, is that we just picked up some bad fuel in the Canary Islands 3,000 miles ago. Now, you say 3,000 miles ago, yeah, it was because we've hardly used the engine at all coming across the Atlantic. We didn't use it at all, and so we haven't used that much. We still have 3/4 of a tank, and anyway, so we, instead of just changing the filter out, we took the whole filter apart, took all the pieces apart, cleaned them all, brake cleaned them down, put them all back together again, new filters, new gaskets, new O-rings, all that, put all that back together, and now we're all good. The problem is, and what we will find out in the future is do we have a whole tank full of crud? Hopefully not. If we do, we can set up on that line, we can set up and basically use our fuel transfer pump as a polishing thing and start polishing the fuel at the dock. Hopefully we've got most of it. But now we're aware of it, we know what to look for and all that sort of stuff. So we're doing that. So all of that is set and everything's cool. We don't see any leaks, everything's great, everything's clean. Now Bob is putting these two cameras that Mark brought, and they are powered by solar panels apiece. So what Bob is doing is he's going up there. The original plan was to put a port camera on the front side of the mast and a starboard camera on the back side of the mast. The reason being is that if you had them symmetrical, both on the boat, they're both exactly the same. You'd see one half of the boat, and then the other one would see the other half. And it's easier if you're like using a tablet, that you just look at one screen instead of looking at two split screens. You sure you put the two of them up. It doesn't really work that way. That works with some cameras. This one I haven't found that to work. So what I want to do is put it forward, because then we can bend the camera all the way around the mast like this and see about from here all the way over. And the reason why we're doing the cameras up there, the main reason is, if you remember when I was in the Mediterranean, I kept getting in trouble if I didn't anchor where there's sand. And now that we're not in the Mediterranean, you still don't anchor very well if you don't find a good spot to do it. So if you're up high and you can look down, you can see a sandy spot and drop the anchor. That makes things much, much easier. Then there's the other thing, and that's that if I'm coming into a place and they're bommies are coral crops, that outcrops that kind of blossom, and you will see on charts like in the Caribbean and in the Bahamas, you'll see all these things that will say like it's 6 to 9 feet. We drive 5.25 feet, so we should be fine through all that. But there'll be little stars everywhere, and those stars are balmies, and they're growing. So what might be all right now, well, if the survey's 12 years old, that thing might have grown a foot by then. Who knows? So anyway, what you do is, when you go in places that you're, like the idea is if we get to the South Pacific and we're going into an atoll, and maybe there isn't even any charting that hasn't been surveyed since like 1945 or something like that. We have a very high, the higher the camera, the better angle looking into the water this way. And so if you see a balmy, we can, everybody up here, and whether you speak Spanish or English, they'll go blah, 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 blah. And I keep telling people, don't point and scream. Point in the direction you want me to go. So in other words, somebody goes, there's a rock right over here. That does me no good. I need to know that if I steer this way, I'm going to be fine. So I tell everyone, if you're going to yell at me, point and yell, and that's the direction. If I see somebody starts yelling this way, I'm going to start turning that way. Now I'll be able to have a visual reference as well, hopefully, when Bob gets that in. But in the process, what Bob has to do all that is, the first thing he has to do is drill 3 holes, tap them out, and then screw in the camera the mount for the camera, and then the camera will be an underhung camera, and it connects wirelessly, but it's powered by a solar panel and a battery, and that will go up above him. The higher it goes up, the less likely the jib will interfere with it because of the angle. The jib will come back this way. Anyway, it's smaller up there than it is back here. So that also will have 3 holes. He'll put the holder there, use a center punch to mark it, drill the holes, tap them out, screw those in, and then hopefully put the solar panel very tight. As far as the how it's going to be, the angle of the solar panel, I don't really care as long as it's up and close to the mast. If it's out like this, it's liable to catch a halyard or catch something else, but the closer it is to the mast, the less likely that is to happen. And the good news is that, unlike the $500 or $600 Garmin cameras that I'd love to do this with, these are cheap Chinese ones. We'll put these in, and if they don't work, we'll still be able to use the holes and the mounting stuff to fix other ones later down the road. But I don't know. I think I spent less than $100 for these 2, and there's a night function. How well they work, you'll know, because if everything works right, I'll be able to steal video from them and put them on the channel as well. So that's what we're doing. Runa's over here supervising. We've been.
You need more beer.
we need to make sure that the Irish is well hydrated. 62 feet up there, or whatever he is, and so that's that. We have spare ribs that are dry marinating in the fridge right now, and I'm going to put those on a little later, doing my quick rib new recipe. I've been talking about this for ages, but I used to do the 3-2-1, and now I just do basically like about an hour of smoke and then an hour and a half wrapped, and then about just a little bit at the end there just to sauce them up and glaze over the sauce. So we'll be doing that with Captain Pat Johnson and Captain Mark Foley. I haven't introduced you to Captain Johnson yet, but he's really cool. He used to work for Mobil. I hope I'm not outing him by saying that. I'm sure he doesn't care. Mobil hasn't had any people working for him that way for years. But anyway, I met him years ago. He has a company where they do audits. And it's, you know, usually when people think audits, they're thinking about your taxes being audited or something like that. Well, they have what they call a navigational audit on boats like this. And this is, you got to figure if you were an oil major and you were hiring a company like the one I used to work for to move hazardous cargo for you, there's a lot of liability that even though you're trying to insulate yourself from, ultimately comes back to you because you're the ones with the deepest pockets. So what they do is they get a third party and they say, look, we want to make sure that the people that my employer says are good are actually good. And so you get somebody like Captain Johnson, who has been in the business for ages and done everything, and he's been working with oil for I mean, he's been around for a long time and really knows his stuff. Anyway, it was really fun. I picked him up. They said, oh, you're going to pick up an auditor. So, all right. So I picked him up, and he showed up in the upper house. And while I'm running it, and we started talking. And as is quite common in the industry, it turns out that it's a small world. And many of the people that he worked with are people that I've worked with, are people that have been very influential in my career. And we hit it off wonderfully. And that was probably 10 years ago. And one of his friends is my friend that you've seen on here a million times before, the maritime pilot, Captain Foley. And Mark and I too have been friends. Well, Mark has also worked with this guy as well. And so this guy saw that Mark was coming down to visit me, and he said, hey Mark, I want to come down. Mark said, come on down. So he came down, and we've been having a great time. So hopefully you'll see him later on. Anyway, I bet that if everything goes well up on top, Bob is going to need to be let down, or going to need another beer to go up. So in the meantime, I'm going to say goodbye to you for now. If I film something else, I'll send it up to you. If I don't, take care, be safe, and I'll see you on the morning.
Well, I'm up the mast. I don't know if you can see them down there. Tim's bought some security cameras to stick up the mast, but we're not going to use them for their intended purpose. We're going to use them to look from the mast down so we can see if there's anything in the water ahead of us, any shallow areas or I don't know, coral or anything, or in the Bahamas, what are they called, the blooms or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm going to install these now, and hopefully the range reaches down. I think it will. Anyway, I'll get back to you. So I have installed the camera. I need to tidy the wires a bit more. I'm getting the guy send me up electrical tape because there's a lot of spare wire, but I'm just gonna tape it up so it's like streamlined. Little solar panel, little camera, beer, and I'll give you a view. So this is Martinique. Nice. I like it on the starboard side. Oh, you can talk to me. There's Tim talking me through the camera. So I have two cameras installed. There's the solar panels. The cameras are below. But when I was up here, I noticed the jib sheet comes through here. Then there's a Genoa halyard, and right where that block is, it's really frayed. So I have sent it down to the lads, and they're going to chop about a foot off and send it back up, and yeah, it'll be good, because it looked like it was about to wear through. It would not have been fun. But yeah, I'll try. Wait, I think I showed you this, so I'll try. So that's where Mark and Pat are. Oh yeah, this is the crane that fell over. Don't know how that happened. But yeah, I better put this phone away and get back down, have a beer. See ya.
Well, there you have it. I think we've gone over and beyond the call of duty for today. I luckily had to delegate most things. But Bob, look, they're still working. Now they're cutting the bad end off of the line here so that they can keep the pelican hook.
Yeah, this is a good thing.
That's it. But Bob was up the mast all day and in the hole. Then there's Runa, who has been helping.
Runa did the worst job. He cleaned all that. All that
he
crap.
cleaned all the crap out of the filters and all the lines and all that.
He did
Anyway,
a thorough job.
We got everything done. We've got some ribs on the grill. They're cooking away. I think work is done for the day, and I think we might have almost everything done. And maybe we'll go for a sail tomorrow before it'll be the last day before Bob and.
Yeah, I'm gone on the 11th.
That's it,
So
Bob.
that's,
yeah, tomorrow's gonna be the 10th.
10th
Yeah, and then the next day will be Bob and Mark and Pat will all be headed back to their respective homes.
all in the book around.
Anyway, you guys, I hope you like this video. I'm ecstatic. You wouldn't believe. Wait till I start showing you video from this. The quality is fantastic, and I think I looked. It was $150, I think, for two of these cameras, and so Bob just put it out. Gave me a great idea.
I kind of was like, well, I didn't say this to Tim. I was like, oh, this is a bit of a waste of time. Like these cameras, they're up there. They're awesome. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, you can see everything.
The quality is
really
insane.
Quality,
And I'm just really mad because all the time I was showing you med mooring, this is how you want to see it. It's an eye in the sky.
Yeah.
You've got a 62-foot angle looking straight down on the boat. It's pretty cool. Anyway, you'll see that in the future. Thank you so much for watching. And
hey,
really
see
appreciate
med mooring because we're gonna go out sailing. We're back in here.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Oh God, the pressure's on. I hope I do it right.
Med mooring without a bow thruster.
That's it. Med mooring without a bow thruster. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for those that have bought us a drink by smashing that super thanks button. Go ahead and smash it if you'd like to buy the next round of pitons for us. I know we're in Martinique, but piton is brewed in
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia. But what do we like best?
I like
The piton is fantastic. Anyway, thank you so much for those that have been smashing that super thanks button, and also thanks for the patrons that have they are the lifeblood of the channel. I'll put a link in below if you want to join. We'd love to have you on there. You guys take care, be safe, and as always, Bob,
see you on the one.
I'll see you on the one.